Welcome to IAS project. In this video, we will be talking about Aryan culture. This is our second lecture for Aryan culture. In our previous lecture, we have stated that Aryans came from Central Asia, and from Central Asia, they went into Europe, they went into Iran and Middle East, and they also came into India. Now, in this lecture, let's try to understand some of the evidences through which we can link the Aryans with all these places. Please note that the word here is Indo-Aryans. Indo-Aryans simply means that those Aryans which came to Indian subcontinent. First and foremost, we have to understand that whenever we say the word Aryan, it does not mean any race. We have already talked about what race is in our previous lectures. You can watch that lecture by clicking on the link here. So the word Aryan does not mean race. It simply means all those people who are speaking Indo-Aryan languages. Indo-Aryan languages means, for example, Sanskrit, Hindi, Rajasthani, Marathi, Bengali, and most of the languages that are spoken in North India today. On a wider scale, we can also call Aryans as those people who speak Indo-European family of languages. So within Indo-European family of languages, we have not only Indo-Aryan languages, but also other languages like European languages. For example, English, French, German, Spanish, and all these languages. In our previous lecture, we have understood that all the languages of Indo-European family have certain words which have similar roots. So people who were speaking Indo-European languages, their names as well as the names of the gods they were worshipping were also very similar. For example, we have found names of the people as well as names of the gods of the people who were speaking Indo-European languages almost 4,000 years ago. We have found such information mainly through different inscriptions. For example, we have found inscriptions in Iraq which dated to almost 2200 BCE. And these inscriptions were written in Indo-European languages. Similarly, we have also found inscriptions in Anatolia. What is Anatolia? Anatolia is basically a part of Turkey. Let me explain you what is Anatolia on a map. You can see Turkey in the map here. Turkey basically has two parts. One part belongs to Europe and the other part belongs to Asia. So the part belonging to Europe and the part belonging to Asia are separated somewhat like this. Okay. Here we have Dardanelles Strait and here we have Bosphorus Strait. And in the middle we have Sea of Marmara. So we have Dardanelles Strait, Sea of Marmara, and Bosphorus Strait. All these three locations are very important from the point of view of prelims. So Turkey basically has two parts. One is in Europe and the other is in Asia. The part that is there in Asia is called as Anatolia. It is basically a peninsula. That is why it is also called as Anatolian Peninsula. The old name of Anatolian Peninsula was Asia Minor. So whenever you hear the words Asia Minor or Anatolia, it basically means the part of Turkey that is lying in Asia. And the part of Turkey that is lying in Europe is called as Thrace. So we can say that Thrace and Anatolia are two parts of Turkey. Please remember this from the point of view of prelims. So we have found inscriptions in Anatolian Peninsula also, and these inscriptions date to 1900 BCE. And these inscriptions were also written in Indo-European languages. We have also found Kassite inscriptions in Iraq dated to 1600 BCE. We have found Mitanni inscriptions in Syria dated to 1400 BCE. We have also found Bogaskoi inscriptions in Asia Minor. As I just said, Asia Minor is nothing but Anatolia or the part of Turkey which is lying in Asia. And Bogaskoi inscriptions date to 1400 BCE. So in all these inscriptions, the language was Indo-European family of languages. And the names that were written in these inscriptions were having common roots or were having similarity to the names that we find in Indo-Aryan languages, for example, in Sanskrit or Hindi. That is why we can say that in all these regions, basically there was an influence of Aryans, and these Aryans came from Central Asia. I will show you the locations of Kassites and Mitanni shortly, but for now, let's see the location of Iraq and Syria once again because the Middle East area is very important from the point of view of prelims exam. We have Iraq over here and Syria is over here. Please note that Iraq does not share a boundary with Red Sea or Mediterranean Sea, whereas Syria has boundary with Mediterranean Sea. So this is about the locations of Middle East. Now let's go back to the Indo-European languages inscriptions. So all these inscriptions were written in Indo-European family of languages. However, at this point we must note that in case of India, from Vedic period, we did not find any inscriptions. Whatever the case is, we know the names of people as well as names of gods from Vedic literature. So by comparing the names of people as well as names of gods with the names that we have found in these inscriptions, we found that there was a high similarity in the names of people as well as names of gods. When we say names of people, we simply mean names of rulers, not of the common people. So this explains that all these areas were having people which came from one single area. And those people were nothing but Aryans, and Aryans came from Central Asia. Moreover, from the excavations that were done in Bactria Margiana archaeological complex, we have found evidences of Aryan culture even before Rig Vedic period. That is, even before 1500 BCE, we have found archaeological evidence of Aryan culture from this archaeological complex. Let's see the location of this archaeological complex on a map. This region is basically the Bactria Margiana archaeological complex, and this region belongs to what is known as Oxus civilization. Oxus is name of a river. Oxus is also called as Amu Darya. So Oxus civilization was a Bronze Age civilization that developed around Oxus river. We will talk more about Oxus river or Amu Darya river when we talk about Bactrian Greeks in India. So Oxus civilization is a civilization of Central Asia and Northern Afghanistan. And this civilization precedes the Vedic culture in India, because Vedic culture in India started only from 1500 BC, whereas the Oxus civilization Aryan culture started around 2000 BCE and it lasted up to 1500 BCE. Please note that these dates are only approximations. Whatever the case is, you can see clearly here that the Aryan culture in Oxus civilization precedes that of Aryan culture in India. So this is one more reason why we can say that Aryan people came from the northwest direction into India. Moreover, we also have some other evidences. For example, in Rig Veda, we have words like Ashva and Vrishabha. Ashva mainly means horse, whereas Vrishabha means bull. As we found both these animal names in Rig Veda, it means that Rig Vedic people knew about these animals. However, Rig Vedic people did not know about rhino and tiger, because rhino and tiger are actually tropical animals, and these animals were usually not found in Central Asia. That is why Rig Vedic people or the early Aryans did not know about both these animals. That is why the names of both these animals also do not appear in Rig Veda. Whereas they knew about bull and horse, that is why Vrishabha and Ashva names appear in the Rig Veda. Please note that both these animals were known to Harappans. How do we know this? Because we have found Harappan seals on which both these animals were shown. Aryans were not Harappans. How do we know this? Because within Rig Veda, there is no mention of urban life. And we know that Harappans were living in big cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Rakhigadi. But within Rig Veda, there is no mention of urban life of Harappans. That is why Aryans were not Harappans. Moreover, recent genetic studies have also shown that the Indo-European language speaking people have some common ancestry. And this common ancestry is because of Aryans who came from Central Asia into all the places, that is into Europe, into Iran and Middle East, and also into Indian subcontinent. If we talk about Rig Veda is the earliest text of Indo-European languages. Moreover, Rig Veda has many common things with Zend-Avesta. Zend-Avesta is actually the oldest text in Iranian language. Zend-Avesta is a sacred text for Zoroastrians. Zoroastrians are basically Parsis. Since Aryans also went to Iran from Central Asia, just like they came from Central Asia to India, we can observe that the same people composed Zend-Avesta also. That is why we find many similarities in Zend Avesta as well as Rig Veda. And these similarities are basically the names of several gods as well as the type of social classes that developed in ancient Iran as well as in Rig Vedic period in India. So Aryans started to move away from Central Asia around 4000 years ago. These people went westwards, that is into Greece and Anatolia. We have learnt that Anatolia is nothing but Turkey. These people also went southwards, that is into Iran and Middle East. Moreover, these people also went southeastwards, that is nothing but into the Indian subcontinent. And when these people moved into different regions, they started to conquer the local populations. These people were able to conquer the local populations because they had better weapons and they also had horses and chariots. So because of these three things, Aryans were superior in terms of military tactics compared to the local people of Greece and Anatolia, Iran, or even Harappans. So these people conquered local populations and sometimes they also intermarried with the local people. And when they intermarried with the local people, they grew even stronger and therefore the Aryans formed ruling class in all these regions. For now, let's ignore what happened in Indian subcontinent. But in other places, for example in Anatolia, Hittites took control of Anatolia. Whereas in Babylon, Kassites took control of Babylon. In Syria, it was the Mitanni that took control of Syria. All these three people were descendants of Aryans. So this is how when Aryans moved from Central Asia into different places, they conquered the local populations and they intermarried with these local populations and then they formed the ruling class within these areas. Now let's look at where Hittites, Kassites and Mitanni established their rule on a map. I want you to focus on this area here. This area is shown in a bigger picture here. This area is nothing but the Anatolian Peninsula, or let's say Turkey. In this area, it was Hittite that established the rule. And in case of Iraq, it was actually the Kassites that established their rule. In Syria and in adjacent regions, it was Mitanni that established the rule. So basically, this is how the ancient Mesopotamia got divided and different areas were taken control by Hittites, Mitanni and Kassites. And all these three people are related to Aryans. So this is how Aryans established their rule in Middle East. However, the case in the Indian subcontinent was a little different. Now let us try to understand how was it different in India. So in places other than Indus Valley region, the Aryan migrants either got absorbed or they got merged with the people of older civilizations. Merged simply means they intermarried with the local people. And after intermarrying, they became the ruling classes of these regions. Absorbed means they started to live as common people in these regions. So this is how it worked for the Aryans in Middle East, that is in the case of Mesopotamia and Iran. And after merging with the local people, these people even developed the cultures of Mesopotamia and Iran to the new heights. For example, if we talk about the usage of iron, it was first used in Anatolia. So from the Hittites in Anatolia, Kassites and Mitanni also learnt about the usage of iron. Once they have learnt how to make iron tools and implements, their cultures advanced very fast. But in the case of Indus civilization, the situation was a little different. Because in our previous lectures, we have learnt that Indus civilization people did not have good weapons. Moreover, the people living in the Indus region were mostly conservative and also peaceful because they were mainly traders. We do not find evidence of any warriors in Indus Valley civilization. Most of the people were either traders or they were doing agriculture or some other artistic works. So since these people did not have good weapons, they were unable to fight or unable to withstand the Aryan invaders that were coming from the west side of Indian subcontinent. Moreover, the Indus Valley civilization cities could not absorb these Aryan invaders also. There are many reasons why they could not absorb. For example, these Aryan invaders were not very much interested in agriculture. These people were mainly interested in pastoralism. Pastoralism means raising cattle. So since Aryan invaders were mainly raising cattle, they were always in search of grass pastures. Moreover, Aryan invaders were always interested in war and fighting. So these are some of the reasons why Indus civilization cities could not absorb the oncoming Aryan invaders. Moreover, they also could not withstand or could not fight these Aryan invaders because Aryan invaders were having good weapons, they were having horses, and they were also having chariots. All these three things were lacking for Indus civilization city people. So that is why Indus civilization cities started to decline. Whereas in the Middle East, Mesopotamia and Iran started to absorb these people and started to merge with these people. That is why they did not face a complete destruction of their culture. Whereas Indus civilization people faced almost a complete destruction. So one important reason for decline of Harappan civilization can be considered as Aryan invasions from West. This is basically the basis for Aryan invasion theory. We talked in our previous videos that Aryan invasion theory's main proponent was Mortimer Wheeler. And Mortimer Wheeler was a Director General of Archaeological Survey of India at the time of India's independence. Please like and subscribe. You can download this presentation from our Telegram channel. The name of the channel is IAS Project. The link for this channel is given in the description section below. Thank you.